Good afternoon. Hope you all are doing well. My name is Isaac Cervantes. I'm here to welcome you to this evening's webinar for financial aid. We're going to give it a few minutes to let folks trickle in, and then we'll officially get started. So hang on tight, and we'll get started shortly. So in the meantime, welcome. Give it a few, see the attendee numbers going up. It's a good sign. Perfect. Right. Hello, everyone. If you're just joining us, we'll get started shortly. We're going to give it a few seconds to let folks trickle in before we officially start. So happy to have you all here. We have a lot of good information this afternoon, financial aid. All right, let's see here. Give it about 15 more seconds. Okay. I think we're in a good place to start, so we'll go ahead and do that just so we're mindful of your time, since we do have the hour with you. But again, hello and welcome. My name is Isaac Cervantes. I serve as the Assistant Director for Talent Orientation Programs and Outreach and Recruitment. Really excited to have you all here as we're joined with our friends and colleague in financial aid to share all of the important information as you're looking to it. We do welcome you to contact us if you have any questions. There is a Q&A feature within the Zoom. So if you see that and you click that, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot your questions there. We have a team on the back end who is here to answer any questions that you have. If this is the first time that you're using Zoom or within a webinar, keep in mind that we can't hear you, we can't see you. So if you do have a question, that is the way that you can contact us. And we definitely welcome that. We want it to be engaging and be as helpful as it is for you. I do want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel. So if there's information that you want to share, or if you have any friends who couldn't make it to this workshop and you want to share this information, you can do so there as well. I also do want to make a shout out that we do have a California Dream Act and FAFSA workshop in Spanish that is taking place next week on the 27th. I'll drop the link in the chat for our webinar series so you can get the link there and register if you are interested, or if you know anyone who would be interested in attending that. So just some things we wanted to share with you before we get started. So again, I hope you all enjoy the hour that we have with you. I will go ahead and turn it over to Adelina, who is with our Office of Financial Aid and a great friend. Adelina, it is all yours.
Thank you, Isaac. So hello, everyone. My name is Adelina Bonacor. I am the Assistant Director of Client Services at the Financial Aid Office at CSUF Fullerton. I am going to be going over some really general financial aid questions. We do have the Q&A option available. If you all have questions during the time that I'm presenting, I may or may not be able to answer most of your questions. Please know one of the things that I talk about in financial aid is this, that financial aid is always the answers are always yes, if, and, or, but, maybe, and no. So it really depends on the situation. So there are a lot of situational questions. If you have detailed questions about your financial aid, please contact our office. I will have contact information on our slides towards the end. But if you have detailed questions, you're like, where's my Cal Grant? Or I have a question specifically on this, or I have a specific question of like what my aid will look like, I can't answer that just right now, but I'm going to do my best to give you all the information that I possibly can. So we're going to go ahead and start. So we're going to talk about the overview, why, where, and why you need to apply. So what is the reason for applying for financial aid? Number 2, a step-by-step instructions for both CDA FAFSA applications, and 3, important information. So why do you need to apply? Number one, here's a couple, this is really real easy. We like free money, that's that, right? So CDA or FAFSA means that you want to make sure that you get all of the free money that you are eligible for. So one of the things that I hear a lot in financial aid is like, Adelina, my brother's cousin's fiance's neighbor goes to UCLA and they get a full ride. I don't understand. I make less money. What happened? Here's the thing with California Dream Act or FAFSA applications, it takes into consideration very detailed information that you may or may not know about other individuals. So when you apply for a FAFSA or when you apply for a California Dream Act, it takes into consideration your detailed information, your income, may possibly your parents' income, and different things that we're going to be going through. So those are the things that you're really looking at. And we're going to talk a little bit more what the application looks like. The second thing is that after the California Dream Act or a FAFSA is completed, there might be documents that are required either by the Department of Education or by the state. It's not Cal State Fullerton being mean and saying like, I want paperwork. Trust me, I don't like paperwork. I don't want to have thousands and thousands of documents, but it is something that is required by the state and the Department of Education. So we have to work together, and we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about that. Once you have those two things completed, you get your money. So why do you need to apply? Why is it a priority? Adelina, I've got stuff to do. I got hobbies. I don't want to do this. I'll wait. Here's the thing. Always, always, always do your financial aid when it opens. Here's the reason why. When you complete your financial aid early, that means number one, you're done. You're good. You're good. You completed it. You don't have to worry about it. We're moving forward. Number two, when students complete their applications early or they do it before the March 2nd deadline, that means that you automatically become a priority 1 student at this point. What does priority 1 student mean? Thank you for asking that question. So priority 1 means that you are submitting you're submitting your financial aid application, so either a CDA or a FAFSA, and you're submitting your documents on time. This means that you are completely eligible for all types of aid and we can go ahead and see if you're eligible for it. So that means like a state university grant. A state university grant is for tuition, $5,072. What if I told you if you applied on March 5th, you are completely disqualified from that grant? That's losing out on $5,000. That's tuition. That's a lot of money that is free. That's grant money. You don't have to pay back or anything like that. That's one of the main things that I tell students all the time. If you want to make sure that you get everything you're eligible for, please complete your application before March 2nd. We do here and at Cal State Fullerton Office of Financial Aid, we do have different workshops to help and different things. You can email us. We have staff members. We have phones. We have email. I mean, we have our website. There are a lot of resources available to assist you, but I'm also here to assist you today. So let's say you're like, Adelina, I was not able to do my FAFSA or California Dream Act by March 2nd. Totally understand. Life gets in the way sometimes. I understand. I was a student too. But here's the thing with priority 2. Unfortunately, if you do become a priority 2 student, that means that you disqualify yourself from certain financial aid, like a state university grant, or as it is a first come first serve kind of type of financial aid, then you might be disqualified from that. But that does not mean that you would not be eligible for any aid. That just means that you are disqualified from certain aid. There's other aids types that are, you receive it regardless. As long as you apply and you are eligible, you can receive it whenever, however. But there are other aid that has deadlines. I'm sure Isaac and some other or people have heard my joke before. I'm like, I wish I could be like Oprah and just give out money and be like, you get money, you get money, you get money. Like, I can't do that, unfortunately. So with that being said, it's a partnership. Our office will help you, but then the students also have to go ahead and assist our office by completing things on time, submitting things in a timely manner, and submitting things correctly. So, pop quiz. When is the priority deadline for the CDA FAFSA? March 2nd. So, March 2nd, if you don't want to do your FAFSA or California Dream Act right now, no problem. Keep March 2nd in mind. It is a really big deal. As a financial aid administrator, I cannot emphasize enough this date. This date is like our like Super Bowl Sunday, you know. You want to make sure you have everything done by then. So a lot of the questions that I get is which application should I submit so I can get financial aid? Okay, there's two applications. The first one is going to be a FAFSA. For FAFSA, you have to be a U.S. citizen or an eligible non-citizen. You have to have a valid social security number, and number three, you have to have a valid high school diploma or GED. These are not Cal State Fullerton's requirements. These are federal Department of Education requirements. Let's say you don't have that. No problem. We live in a state that is really great for students and for college and for assisting students in attaining education. There is the California Dream Act. The California Dream Act is specifically for students that are attending school in California. A lot of questions I get is, Adelina, I want to go to school in New York. Can the California Dream Act transfer to New York? No. Can the California Dream Act work here at Cal State Fullerton? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the way that it works. You have to live in California and meet the AB 540 eligibility requirements. That means that you have to go ahead with the Office of Admissions, complete the AB 540 documentation. Once that's complete and you have your California Dream Act, we can start the processing to see what type of financial aid you're eligible for. There's a myth that California Dream Act students or Dreamer students are not allowed or not eligible for financial aid. That's actually not true. There is financial aid available. It is a little bit more limited. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, but there is aid available. So I strongly encourage anybody to complete these two applications that would be required if whichever one you are eligible for.
Adelina, I have a quick question in the chat.
Yes.
Answer, but I want to make sure I'm correct. So the question was, do parents need to create a FAFSA ID? If so, what kind of info do parents need to enter? I thought parents' income entered was logged into students' FAFSA ID. Please clarify. So I said, correct. One parent needs to create an FSA ID, which will allow you to virtually sign along with your student's virtual signature to submit the FAFSA or California Dream Act. Information regarding your finances will be asked when completing the FAFSA or CDA application only.
That is correct. So, when talking about FAFSA or the California Dream Act, a lot of students will say, I support myself. I don't go to, my parents don't pay for anything. I'm going to pay for school for myself. Unfortunately, we do need to have parent information. So one parent would need to complete a FAFSA, FSA ID or a FAFSA ID. For the California Dream Act, the information does have to be inputted for the parent as well. So there are a couple of questions that the FAFSA or the California Dream Act asks. So number one, is the student 24 or older? Is the student married? Does the student have children? Is the student a military student, homeless? Is the student a grad student? And there's a couple of other requirements. If you said no to any of those, that means that parents are required to submit documentation and information. I am going to go over in a little bit about like information about income and different things like that. So I'll answer the second question in a little bit.
Perfect, thank you.
So what if your parents doesn't have a social security number? Is one of the questions that I already that I'm seeing right here. So at this point, so one of the things that I recommend is putting the way that FAFSA or the Department of Education has guided our office or any office in general is to put 00000 all the way through. At the end of the FAFSA application, there is a signature page. Some students do encounter some issues with that sometimes. So my recommendation is, if you encounter issues with your FAFSA or anything like that for your parent signature or anything like that, give us a call. We will have our contact information at the end of it. We can walk you through it. There are some steps that need to be done. Basically, a signature page would have to be printed out and then mailed to the Department of Education, but we can talk a little bit more in detail if that is an issue. So give us a call. So here it goes. Here's the next question. I mailed my FAFSA due to my parents not having a SSN, and so my account still says missing signature. Is that because FAFSA hasn't been processed? I mailed it 3 days ago. So the way that works, Natalie, is that the Department of Education will receive your documentation. They will see, okay, this signature goes to this FAFSA. They will go ahead and process it. They're going to go ahead and receive it. They do their thing on their end. Then they send it to us at Cal State Fullerton. it takes about maybe a week and a half for us to receive it once they have received it. So depending on how long your mail takes to get to the central processing system or anything like that, it can be delayed. But it really depends on when they receive it and when they send the information to us. Once we receive that information and download it onto our system, we're pretty quick on being able to go ahead and just go ahead and take that off of your to-do list. And then do our parents only create a FFSA ID if they are citizens? Your parents would need to, if you yourself as a student are a U.S. citizen and are eligible for a FAFSA, they would need to create an FSA ID. Again, you would just put for the social security number, zeros all the way through. At the end, if you do have problems or issues, or you're like, nah, I really don't know if I did this correctly, give us a call. We'll have the contact information on there as well. So moving forward with the types of financial aid available to FAFSA applicants, particularly FAFSA, we're going to go over CDA or California Dream Act in the next slide, but these are for FAFSA. So for FAFSA, we have grants. So grants are money or awards that do not have to be paid back. So there are two types. There's federal, which is like, think of the United States completely. Anyone is eligible as long as they meet requirements. There's the Pell Grant, FSEOG, Work Study, Teach Grant. So those are the four main ones that we're going to be looking at. Then we live in California, so California gives financial aid to students, so it really depends. So then they have the Cal Grant, they have the State University Grant, they have the Middle Class Scholarship, the Chafee and Equal Opportunity Grant. I'm going to take a moment really quick to just stop on these particular ones to explain a little bit further. Cal Grant and State University Grant are basically they are very similar. So Cal Grant, for Cal Grant, you need to be within an income ceiling and you have to have an asset ceiling. As long as you meet those requirements, you are going to be eligible for it. For State University Grant, it's a little bit different. For State University Grant, you do need to meet the March 2nd deadline, number one. You do need to submit documents by the time that it's required, number two. And number three, you will need to meet the eligibility requirements for expected or estimated family contribution, which is the number at the end of the FAFSA or California Dream Act that they'll give you. Dependent on that number, if you are a certain number, you are eligible for certain aid. If you are above that number, they're like middle class scholarship is for students that have their parents' income are a little bit higher. It varies in the amount. So we do have different types of aid available to students and different types of incomes or family incomes. Now we're going to talk about the L word, not love, but loans. Loans, everyone's always scared and they're like, Adelina, I don't want to know. Don't talk to me about loans. Let me just tell you all something. I'm a doctoral student. If anyone knows about loans, I know about loans. Loans are not a bad thing. Loans are bad when taken out without fully understanding what the terms and conditions are. And number two, loans are bad if you take them out for anything other than education. Here's the thing with loans. Loans are federal. So these are federal subsidized and unsubsidized loans. So there are three types. The first is the undergrad loans. There are graduate loans, and then there are Parent Plus loans. So those are the three types, and then they go into subtypes. If we're looking at subsidized loans means that the federal government pays the interest while you are in school. And as long as you are enrolled in at least 6 units. After you graduate, you have 6 months to pay. That's the way it works. It starts accumulating interest after you graduate. Unsubsidized loans means that it is accruing interest while you are in school. I was a student. I helped my sister through her financial aid a long time ago. Here's the thing, and the thing that I hear a lot from students, I'm taking out a loan to go on vacation. I'm not saying that any of you are saying that or any of you are going to do that, but here's the thing. Any loans, any financial aid that you are receiving from the federal government or for the state government needs to be for the purposes of education. So that means your schooling, tuition, books, transportation, food, housing, school supplies, if you need electronics or technology, those are the types of things. I've literally had people, students tell me that they are using their financial aid for Disney passes, and I have to be like, don't tell me anything. Like, that's not legal. Actually, it's not legal. Don't do it, please. Loans, like I said in the beginning, please be responsible with loans. One of the things I tell students, read the fine print. This means that you need to understand what the repayment terms are. What are the interest rates? When do you have to pay back? You know, if you are going into a specific field, is there forgiveness? There are a lot of things that go into loans, so you want to make sure that you have all of the correct information, because you don't want to be at my age and then look back and be like, oh whoa, like there's some things that I didn't realize until you have to start paying back. So it's really important to go ahead and do homework if that is something that you're looking into. Let's say you're like, Adelina, I don't want to do loans. No problem, don't take them, you're all good. You just have to deny. You just have to decline. Let's see for the types of financial aid that are available to CDA or California Dream Act applicants. Because they are not eligible for federal aid, they are eligible for state aid. This means that they are eligible for Cal Grant, State University Grant, and middle class scholarships. They're also eligible for CSUF and private scholarships through the students portal at CSUF, and possibly outside scholarships. I tell people all the time, there are scholarships for everything. There's scholarships for people with curly hair. There's scholarships for left-handed people. I got a scholarship from a random, women's group one time, and it was like $400. It wasn't enough to cover my tuition, but it is something. So you want to make sure that if you are a California Dream Act student, you are not eligible for everything. And this is also goes to FAFSA students. Do your homework and look for scholarships, because that's going to be, even if it's $100, if it's $200, that does add up. Previously, I used to work at a private institution, which the tuition was very high, really, really high. I'm talking about 30K plus a year. So you want so at that time I was telling students, please, make sure that you're applying for scholarships. Don't use all your loans, if possible, so that way you're in less debt. And a student was able to go ahead and fund at least 75% of her education only through outside scholarships. It does work. Here's the thing, it does take time. You have to write your essays, you have to make them detailed, you have to go ahead and make sure that you are putting the time into it. I do see a question here from Kai. How do Cal Grant A and B work after we transfer to a CSU? So for Cal Grant A and B, if you go to a community college, you can receive it, but usually they place it on hold. You'd let California Student Aid Commission, which is the governing board over the state aid. You let them know, say, hey, I will be transferring to Cal State Fullerton later on. They say, cool. When you are ready to transfer, you need to let them know where you are attending. Let's say you're coming to Cal State Fullerton, but you were at Fullerton College previously, or you were at Cerritos or wherever it was. If you do not change where you are attending for the next semester, they will not send us the money. They will not send you the money. And then let's say you go and you forget, or something happens, and you don't let California Student Aid Commission know, then you do run the risk of losing it. I will say this: when I was in school, my parents' income changed a little bit, and I did lose my Cal Grant because I went to a private school that was around $10,000. They're different. Private schools and state schools give different amounts. At Cal State Fullerton or any state university will give $5,072. Cal Grant B gives a little bit more, but it depends on your income and different things like that. But you do run the risk of losing it. I have seen students that have lost their Cal Grants for not putting in the information. So please, please, please be diligent. If you are transferring, if you are going from school to school, make sure that you are keeping up to date with that type of information. So for California Dream Act students, they are not eligible for federal loans, but they are eligible for a state loan, which is called a dream loan. The dream loans are for students that are California Dream Act applicants. They do have different requirements. You do still need to pay back, but that is something that is it is a first come, first serve kind of loan. So for that, it is if you are a California Dream Act student and you are looking for a loan, contact us immediately. Once you know that you've accepted, you have financial aid, and you're like, I need additional money, please contact us, because once that money is gone, it's gone. Unfortunately, the Department of Education and the state only give us a certain amount of money. And here's like the pot of money. Once the pot of money is gone, then it's gone. We cannot ask for more. They can't take away from us at this point. It really depends on how much we get every single year. And then the second thing, and this is also for the FAFSA filers, is alternative loans. Alternative loans is when you go to a bank and you say, hey, bank, I'm a student. I am looking for a loan for my education. Usually for students, you need to have credit. You need to have like work history or anything like that. If you don't have that, or you think that you wouldn't be eligible on your own, a cosigner is needed. The cosigner is just basically saying, I agree to pay back the loan if the student isn't able to pay back the loan. So it's kind of like a joint, like together kind of loan. So how do you apply? So you apply online. We are in a virtual world right now, so everything is online, right? So you apply online. For the California Dream Act, you go onto the website for CSAC. You complete your login information, you put in information, and then make sure that everything is completed. For FAFSA, you apply on studentaid.gov. Both of them have a March 2nd deadline, so you want to make sure you complete your application before then. One of the things I see a lot is a lot of students think that they complete it or they submit. They don't. Make sure that at the end you get a student aid report. It's called a SAR, S-A-R, SAR. If you do not see a student aid report on your FAFSA or your California Dream Act, it is not complete. Make sure that that's complete, because if it's not complete, we don't receive the information, or it's kind of a partial information, it can delay your financial aid and possibly make students pay out of pocket. It really depends. So make sure you complete it. If you have questions, again, our contact information will be on there. So here are the main screens of how the California Dream Act and the FAFSA. The California Dream Act, you can see right here, kind of you see this picture. This picture has been on there for like 10 years. So then you know you're there, you're good. You see this picture, you're good. For the federal one, it does look a little bit more modern, and then we can go from there. Let's see. I see a question. I understand that as a Cal Grant A recipient, I may receive up to 4 years of full-time grant payments, but if I decided to attend CCC, my award will be held in reserve status. My question is, do I still receive up to 4 years of grant payments after I transferred to a 4-year college? So the way that the FAFSA works is that as long as you do the 4 years, it depends on when you actually start. So you need to go ahead and once you start receiving the aid, it's 4 years from there. But let's say, but it does not go further than that. It will go. So like, let's say it takes 5 years for you to graduate. 5 years, you know. So it really depends. Community colleges have different types of financial aid as well. So even though they don't have a Cal Grant, they have something similar, or they can help you. They can see some, community colleges are very different, so I can't speak for them. But what I do know is for Cal State Fullerton, it is a 4-year. Once you start your privileges or your recipients of Cal Grant, you have to continue using it. All right, so here is how you go ahead and start logging into the CDA and FAFSA. You can just see here. So you see welcome, you do the login, and you go ahead and put in your information for the FAFSA. For the FAFSA, you are going to need your FSA ID username and password. My recommendation is write these down. You don't want to lose them. If you do lose them, contact FAFSA or the Department of Education. They can assist you. I have seen students have problems with this before. So my recommendation, save your password, save your FSA ID, have your parents save their information as well. It's a lot more difficult if you don't. So then when you log in and you start using the FSA ID, the California Dream Act when you log into the California Dream Act, it will start with, do you have a social security number? So with that being said, it will let you know if you are qualifying for a California Dream Act or not. A lot of students have a lot of confusion sometimes, especially they're like, I'm going to apply for both of them to just maximize my eligibility. Please do not. If you do that, it actually causes a very difficult issue in the system, which we have to detangle, and we have to identify which application you're eligible for. It does take a little bit of time, so please only apply for the ones that you are eligible for. For the FAFSA, you see it right here. You see the student FSA ID or username, and then the password. Here we go ahead and start moving into the student demographics. So it's going to start asking you for your name, your middle initial, mailing address, your city, state, zip code, anything like that, and the date of birth. So those are all, and that's all information that both applications will be asking for. This is one of the most important parts. And I'm going, if you get nothing else, please make sure that you get this part. As of today, they're going to ask you what school you're going to go to. Here's the thing. A lot of students will apply to 10 plus schools. FAFSA and California Dream Act will only send FAFSA or California Dream Act information to the top 5. Okay? So if Cal State Fullerton is your top school and you want us to have your information, don't put us at 10, don't put us at 8, put us top 3. That's my recommendation. Even though it's top 5, I always say put top 3 just in case. If you do not put our school, Cal State Fullerton, as your school, we will not legally be able to receive your information. Even if I go on to the central processing system and pull up your information, I won't be able to see anything because you have not given permission to Cal State Fullerton. Side note, here's the thing. Make sure you're not putting Fullerton College. A lot of times that's one of the things that students kind of put, they will put Fullerton College and like, Adelina, I put Cal State Fullerton. I don't know what happened. I'll go in, I'll look, I'll try to pull it. I'll see that we're not able to do those. We're not able to pull the information, meaning that we're not a school. Make sure that your school is selected, just like Cal Grant. You want to make sure you put the correct information and let California Student Aid Commission or the Department of Education know where you are attending. Dependency status. Again, let's talk a little bit about this a little bit more. How do I say this? So with dependency status, a lot of parents will say, I still claim my student on my taxes. But at the same, or I don't claim my student on my taxes. I don't want to provide income information. I'm not paying for the school. The student is paying for it. And then students will say, I haven't talked to my parents in a long time. So we're going to go over some of the requirements again. Number 1, if you are a student and you are under the age of 24, you are not married, you don't have kids, you are not a veteran, you are not in grad school, you are not homeless, and you will not, I lost my train of thought. You're homeless or you're a foster youth. So those are the requirements. If you said no, you are a dependent student, unfortunately. So your parents do need to provide that information. You want to provide that information to FAFSA or the California Dream Act. Side note, FAFSA and California Dream Act will send information over, but for us, you always want to make sure that you put us top 3 or to make sure that we do receive it. There have been times that that we haven't received it, so you just want to make sure. It really depends. You want to make sure you do that. So moving forward, let's say you have a situation, and I've been in financial aid for a little bit now, and I've seen a lot of situations. Let's say there is abuse, abandonment. You haven't talked to your parents in a long time, and I know, I apologize, trigger warning. But if you have any of those situations and you're like trying to figure out how to complete a FAFSA or a California Dream Act without your parents' information, immediately call us. We will definitely help you. You will need to go through the application first, complete it, and submit it without parent information. Then you would need to go ahead and meet with one of our counselors, so that way we can identify to see if it actually warrants for you to be independent or not. So we do need to have documentation, and we need to have a lot a lot of other steps that go into it that I'm not going to go all the way into because it's not a very common thing. But if this is your case, please give us a call. We're here to help you. Parent demographics. It is going to ask for your parents' information. This is where I will be very straightforward. Isaac and my other colleagues know that I'm a very straight shooter, so I'm gonna just say it as it is. Please make sure all of the information is correct. Everything is correct. Any income information is correct. Here's the reason why. Let's say, and I say this from experience. Let's say sometimes parents will be like, don't put in certain information or tweak certain things. Sometimes the Department of Education or the California Student Aid Commission will require us, Cal State Fullerton, to confirm information that is placed on the FAFSA or California Dream Act. That means that we might ask for tax information. We might ask for W-2s. We might ask for other things like that. Those are the types of things that we are going to be asking for. If there is any information that is different on your taxes or your W-2s than from what you put on your FAFSA or California Dream Act, we legally have to change it. Let's say you accidentally put that as a student you make $100,000. You're a YouTube star, something like that, right? And then you're like, and you start looking at your financial aid and you're like, why didn't I get anything? Like, what happened? And you accidentally put $100,000 instead of $10,000. We legally have to change that once you provide your tax information or anything like that. Let's say you are a millionaire and you omit a zero, and you say I make $10,000 when in actuality you make $1 million. If we ask for your tax information and we do see that the income is different, it will change. So we legally have to make those changes. Why am I rambling about this? Here's this. With changes, with any information change that we need to make as an office for your financial aid application, that means that your aid may change. It could go up, it could go down. So it really depends on what changes need to be done. So like, let's say you put information for your parents or yourself on income, and the income is that you actually have is substantially more, your financial aid will go down. Let's say your income is like you accidentally put $1 million, but you make $20,000. Your income will go down, but your financial aid will go up. So it is a reverse relationship. So the more income you have, the less financial aid you might be eligible for. The less income you have, the more financial aid you are eligible for. Remember that it is based off eligibility. It is requirements. We have to go off of policies, procedures. I did see a question about being adopted or having a guardian or anything like that. If you do have that situation, the FAFSA and the California Dream Act do have those options. They will let you know to go ahead and select, and you can go from there, same as if it would be a parent. So for CDA applicants only, be sure to save your progress along the way. The California Dream Act website is notorious for kicking students out and not saving the information. Make sure if you are a California Dream Act student to go ahead and save your information as you go. I have been helping students all the way through till the end. It kicks them out. We have to start all over because we didn't save progress. So make sure, just as a rule of thumb, make sure that you go ahead and save your progress with the FAFSA at the same time as well. Just make it a habit. There should be a little area that says save progress, and you can go from there. Okay, so now signing and submitting. Once you sign and you submit, this is you acknowledging that all of the information in the application is correct to your knowledge. Making sure that you submit this without the signature, without this legal signature, we are unable to process your financial aid. So make sure that, like I said, if you sign it, you either mail it if your parents need it. If that's the case, go ahead and call us. We'll give you more information about it. If you are doing the California Dream Act or the FAFSA and you have everything ready, make sure you sign. Parent signature. So for the FAFSA signature, if it does need to be mailed, here is the address for the FAFSA signature. If it is for the California Dream Act, here is the address for the California Dream Act signature page. I would recommend taking a screenshot, taking a picture. I'll leave it up for a couple of seconds just so anyone that needs it can have that information. If for some reason you're like, Adelina, I lost it or anything like that, give us a call. We'll go ahead and give you that information again, no problem. So is it an actual signature, not electronic signature? So anonymous, so yes. So this is, so again, the signature page, if you have to print it out, it's for students that have parents that either don't have a social security number or having issues or anything else like that. That would be an actual signature. If you don't have problems, it would be a electronic signature, but please note that these are still legal documents and legal signatures, and you are acknowledging that all the information provided is correct to your knowledge. Before you go, when is a priority deadline for both the CDA and FAFSA applications? March 2nd. I'm a broken record. I'm going to keep saying it. March 2nd, March 2nd. By the end of the time, when you talk to me, you're like, Adelina, I know March 2nd. That's good. That's what I want to hear. Let's see. Should students submit both the FAFSA and CDA applications? No, students should only submit the applications that they are eligible for. Again, it places you in a limbo. It creates a system issues that is a little bit hard to detangle and to get situated. So we want to go ahead and move forward, okay? So next steps. So what do? So when you complete your FAFSA or California Dream Act, you submit that. Then after that, you want to go ahead and start visiting your student center or your for your to-do list. If you have any requirements that are asked of you from our office, the Office of Financial Aid at Cal State Fullerton, that information will be there. We have over 41,000 students. As much as I want to call every student individually and say, hey, so-and-so, I see you haven't submitted this. Can you please submit it? Honest to God, that's my heart. I love students. I love financial aid. I would love to do that. We can't do that. So the best way of communicating with all of our students is that we will go ahead and email you. We will go ahead and place it on your student center. If we see something like we are like that there are things that are missing and it's been a little while, we might send you an email to go ahead and remind you. We do have campaigns that like on Instagram, on our website, we do send emails and different things like that. So that is something that we go ahead and move forward with. Afterwards, if you do have documents that need to be submitted, again, I don't like paperwork. I'm not asking just for fun. These are requirements from the Department of Education. Let's say you're like, Adelina, I do not want to provide Cal State Fullerton any information about my income, my parents' income, or anything like that. Unfortunately, you know, I understand that is definitely your right as a person to not provide that information. But based off of the requirements for the California Dream Act or the FAFSA, they are legally required for us to go ahead and provide you financial aid. I do see 4 questions on the chat. On the Q&A, I will answer them after I'm done with this part. So just letting you know. So legally, we cannot provide financial aid until all documents that are required from the Department of Education or the California Dream Act or the state of California are submitted. Orange is the color of Cal State Fullerton. I don't want to be in an orange jumpsuit for y'all. I like y'all. I really enjoy, what I do. Don't want to be in jail. So that's going to be that. Once we receive your documents, let's say you're like, Adelina, here are my taxes, here are my W-2s, here's all the information you've requested. Cool, let's move forward. Our staff reviews the documentation. They make sure that there's no changes that are needed, that the income, other information that was inputted on the FAFSA was correct. And then we award you, and then you receive money, and the process starts over again. Here are some important resources that I tell students. If you don't want to take my word for it, I absolutely understand. It's completely okay to do research on your own as well. So the U.S. Department of Education or FAFSA information is on studentaid.gov. It's literally, if you want to go to sleep and you are restless, you can read it, but it is dry, but it is extremely informative. It is one of the things that I recommend to students all the time. Know your rights, know your financial aid, know what you are required to do and what you are eligible for. The same thing with California Dream Act students. Go onto the California Student Aid Commission's website and see what are the requirements, like what are the ceilings for income, what do I have to do to be eligible. For the California Dream Act, as well, go ahead and look. You can see what the questions are, what the requirements are, and different things like that. How do you contact us? So, due to COVID-19, unfortunately, our office is not open physically, but we are open virtually. What does that mean? That means that we are available via email, number one. We are available via phones, number two. We are available through our website, number three. We're available through Instagram, number four. All of these things are helpful with resources. Our Instagram is updated pretty frequently. We do have a lot of resources on there. Our website is just a mound of information for whatever you may look. Let's say you're an undergrad and you're looking into grad school. We have information about grad students. You're a parent. What do I do? We have information for parents. We just have lots of information on there. We also have Zoom and phone counseling appointments available. You're like, Adelina, my case is pretty special. I need some like additional help or different things like that. You can go ahead and request that. Our recommendation is to either email or call us. We will provide you dates and times that are available. We'll ask you your questions. One of the things that I tell students all the time is that our staff are very extremely knowledgeable. Our student workers, extremely knowledgeable. So most of the time, you might not even need a counseling appointment because the staff will be able to answer your questions. When the staff is not able to answer any questions, that's when they will go ahead and set up your Zoom or your phone counseling appointment. Perfect. So this is the end of my presentation. I'm not ending it just yet, but I'm going to do a Q&A. If you all would like to go ahead and help us out by providing feedback, any information, you're like, Adelina, you were great, or you're like, Adelina, you need to work on your presenting skills, no problem. I like it. I want to hear what you want to say. We want to know that we are providing the information that is necessary. So now I'm going to go ahead. If you do want to help us out with that survey, the QR code is right there. You just take your phone, you take a picture of it, and it'll pop up. Okay, so let's go ahead and start looking at the Q&A. So anonymous attendee says, what if my mother lost her job and the 2019 is no longer true? Great question. That genuinely is a great question. And that is going to be a very common question due to COVID because a lot of layoffs, furloughs, different things like that. If there has been a difference of income between what was reported on your FAFSA and today, please put the income that they are asking for first. So the 2020, 2021 took into consideration 2018 tax information, 2 years prior. The next one, which is 2021, 2022, will take into consideration 2019 information. In 2 years, a lot can change. In 1 minute, a lot can change. So I understand. But the information needs to remain accurate based off of what they are asking. Once you fill out the information and everything is accurate based off of the year they're asking for, give us a call. We will set you up for a counseling appointment, and we can change the income based off of the documentation you provide. We cannot just go off of, hey, I lost my job. Okay, no, I apologize. I'm really sorry to hear that, but I am going to need either, there's documents. We're going to need layoff notices, tax information, anything like that. And there's a lot of other questions that go into, I'm not diving in too far into that. But if that is the case for you, please put information that is required first, and then give us a call. We can change it. Call professional judgment. So the next question is, do we need to make a copy of the parent electronic form and mail it to you? You do not. If you are going to go ahead, and if that is the case, and you are going to be using that, if you are going to be mailing it because there is a situation which is not common, but if that is your case, keep it for yourself, keep copies for yourself, send it to the appropriate areas, so California Dream Act, the California Student Aid Commission or the Department of Education, they will go ahead and take care of it. They'll send us the information and things like that, but we do not require you to send that information to us. Is the California College Promise Grant the same as the CDA? It is not. So the California College Promise is only specifically for community colleges. Like I said previously, the community colleges have different types of aid, they have different types of programs and different things like that compared to CSUs or UCs or private schools. So aid is different. The California Promise is for community college strictly. We have nothing to do with that. Cal State Fullerton or any other CSU does not partake in that particular financial aid program. But the Cal Grant is available. Cal Grant is available. State University Grant is available. Middle Class Scholarship is available. Chafee is available. The Equal Opportunity Program is available. So you do have a lot of different types of aid. Like Cal Grant, if you do receive and you are eligible for Cal Grant, it does pay for tuition. State University Grant pays for tuition. Middle Class Scholarship pays for a certain amount. So there's different things, but it is not the same, unfortunately, but you do have different resources. So how many hours is work study? That's a great question. So for students, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours. That is the cap, no more. Work study, if you when you complete your work study, is also only for FAFSA applicants because it is a federal program. So that means that unfortunately CDA students are not eligible for it, but a lot of offices on campus still hire student assistants and they don't require federal work study or anything like that. So you are still you might still be able to find something, but for federal work study itself, you would need to be a FAFSA applicant and it is only a 20-hour limit. Natalie, since I mailed my parents' signature, my account says mixing signatures. Is that because FAFSA hasn't been received by by the address I have mailed it to? That is probably the case, Natalie. So what I recommend is I would allow at least a week for them to receive it, maybe a week and a half for them to process it, and then give us a call. And then if you see it come off, let us know. If you don't see it come off after a certain time, give us a call. We can go ahead and see what's going on, or give the Department of Education a call to let them asking them if they have received it. Adelina, is there any way that I can talk to you individually? I really genuinely wish I could talk to all of you individually. Honestly, I'm not always available because I do oversee a couple of different things. If I am available, I can assist you, but I assure you, I promise you, I tell you, and my colleagues can tell you, our staff are really well trained. We have amazing counselors. We have amazing staff. Anything that I'm telling you, they can tell you. I promise you. And they can probably tell you even more because some of them are like specifically working in those areas. So even though I'm flattered, you can ask for me, but if I'm not available, promise you, my colleagues, our staff, everyone can answer the same way I'm answering. Okay, so also I don't think I received an ASF confirmation. I think that's what you said. Would I receive once my FAFSA has been processed? Oh, you mean SAR, the SAR, so the student aid report. So the student aid report is basically just a confirmation page of everything that you have submitted and everything like that. So yes, once you have submitted and the signature page is the signature page is completely processed, then you will receive a student aid report. The student aid report, it's just your copy of everything you submitted, everything that you have inputted, and then we can see from there. I think I answered all. Okay, even if it's mailed, yes, even if it's mailed. So then later on, once it's mailed, there will be a confirmation email sent to you. And then from there, you can go on to your FAFSA application and you can download your student aid report. The same thing with the CDA or the California Dream Act. Once you mail it and everything has been processed, you will receive an email saying confirmation, hey, you're good, you received it, we sent it to Cal State Fullerton, you're all good. Then you can receive the student aid report.
Hey, awesome. Excuse me, Adelina, that was a lot of great information and insight. I do see other questions coming in. One thing I did want to highlight quickly was a question that came in is after I submit my FAFSA or California Dream Act is, do I have to apply to any other financial aid options? And my response to that is really more of advice is after you submit that, it's not required for you to have to explore any other financial aid options, but it's definitely strongly encouraged to apply to other things like scholarships, just so you can have a wide range of your financial aid options. So scholarships are also another form of money that you don't have to pay back, right? And so grants and scholarships, those are all funds that you want to shoot for so that you're essentially just raking in all of those funds and not having to worry about paying that back to anybody. So I would say if you're just relying on FAFSA or California Dream Act, that's fine. If you feel that your journey in terms of education can be paid for, if you have any additional support coming in, but it is definitely encouraged to apply to those scholarships. Many of you have written papers for school, right? That's exactly what it is. You can write a paper with very similar prompts and you get paid for it. So I would definitely explore it. It's definitely worth your time and energy.
I see there's a question. Is there a list of scholarships available to look at? So we don't actually like, besides the Cal State Fullerton one, that you're a student here and you're a continuing student that you can apply for. If you're looking at outside scholarships, there's a couple of websites that I recommend, but they're not affiliated with Cal State Fullerton. They're not affiliated with our department or anything like that. Remember that any scholarship that you're applying for outside is on your discretion, on your time, on anything like that. Fastweb.com is going to be one. Scholarships, I believe it's .com or .net. There is like the Hispanic Scholarship Fund. There's Coca-Cola, Burger King, Sam's Club has a scholarship. I promise you, there are millions and millions of dollars of scholarships. That's actually my research in my doctoral program. So a lot of students don't know about the types of financial aid or anything like that, and they end up taking loans. My recommendation is, what was the name of the website? FastWeb, FAST web.com. You can always Google scholarships as well. There's scholarships.com or .net. Really, genuinely, if you just type in scholarships on Google, there will be a lot. I know that there is an app that students use. I don't really remember what the name of it was. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can try and just send it to Isaac. So if I do find it, but there are like thousands upon thousands of apps. There are websites. Here's the main thing I will say about scholarships or completing a FAFSA or anything like that. If anybody, and I mean anybody tells you, pay me a certain amount of money and I will complete your FAFSA and I will submit all of these things for scholarships and get you all the money for the tuition, you run. That is absolutely a scam. I know people that have been scammed before. Applying for FAFSA or applying for the California Dream Act is completely free. Applying for scholarships is completely free. Do not pay anybody for anything and help in that area. If you need help, contact us. We may or may not have all of the information, but we will give you everything that we have. There are plenty of websites that give things for free, that give information for free. You have us. You have so many resources. Please do not feel the need to pay anybody because it is a scam.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that goes the same with your applications, with submitting to your Cal State Apply, or if you're applying to UCs or private schools. So you have plenty of resources available to you from our office. From office is like the Office of Financial Aid. So know that you have us here as support. And so with that, I do want to be mindful of time. I want to thank all of you who have taken the time out of your evenings to join us. I definitely want to make a huge shout out to Adelina. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your insights and your energy with us. It's definitely been informative, especially for me. And so I'm sure our attendees can agree too. So thank you all again for joining us. As mentioned, we'll go ahead and have this recorded. You can find this information in this recording on our YouTube channel. And then we do have a very similar presentation, if not the identical, for anybody who's bilingual in Spanish. We'll be offering that. So please join us. It's October 27th. We'd love to have you there. So with that being said, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Adelina, thank you so much. Team, thank you so much who are in the back supporting the Q&A and just kind of here in support. We appreciate you all. And that will conclude our presentation. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you all.